Hi, I'm Emily Williams, the founder of the top success and personal development company for driven women called I Heart My Life. I grew my company from $442 to seven figures in my first 18 months. And since then, it's become a movement for women who know they're meant for something big and refuse to settle. At I Heart My Life, we operate with the belief that anything is possible and no dream is too big. We're all about combining business strategy, deep mindset work, high performance practices, money tips, and a whole lot of lifestyle to help you get the results you deserve in all areas of life. Because after all, we only get this one shot. This is your one-stop shop for all things inspiration. So grab your favorite drink and a pen and a notebook and get ready to be inspired. Oh, and if you're not a member of our community, go to iheartmylife.com/join and receive all of our emails and announcements. And while you're at it, copy and paste this episode link and share it with 3 friends. Now, on to the episode. Hey, it's Emily Williams, the founder of I Heart My Life and your host of the I Heart My Life show. This is episode 222. Why the law of attraction isn't working for you. So today's episode is a really special one. It was actually inspired by a specific question that my husband asked me that helped me transform my mindset and recognize why the law of attraction might not be working for many of us as we go through the process of building businesses, trying to create more success, looking to become wealthier. And today we're having a conversation about that same question that you can ask yourself and why it affects your energy, which ultimately impacts your action. So today's a really important episode. It's short and sweet, but it's something that's going to be a game changer for you. So let's go ahead and dive in. This episode is sponsored by I Heart My Life Day. This is a virtual workshop designed to support you in creating a life that you love, one that's better than your dreams and fulfills you in every area. We cover topics like health, relationships, spirituality, business and career, money, mindset, all the key components that you need to create a life that's better than your dreams and transform your reality. We bring together the world's best teachers and experts to support you in every area of life. We also bring together an incredible community of like-minded women brought together to support you in going to the next level in every area of your life. We've curated this incredible experience to be the workshop that you've been looking for to support you in uncovering your purpose, living life to the fullest, creating your best health, transforming your mindset and moving past fear and limiting beliefs, having healthy relationships, going to the next level in your business or career. Literally, no stone is left unturned. We are here for you in every area of your life, so that you too can say that you've created a life that's better than your dreams. So go to iheartmylifeday.com to find out more and join us on the next I Heart My Life Day. So back in 2010, I moved to London on a complete whim from Ohio in the United States. I didn't know anyone, and I moved with this dream that I would figure out what I wanted to do with my life and have some clarity. Now, when I got to London, I thought that things would start to shift, but the truth is my quarter life crisis followed me across the pond. And so I was really unhappy. I didn't know how to make friends. I was single. I was working as a nanny. And I realized I needed somebody to help me be happy. And I know that for a lot of people, that's a struggle that you might have as well. It's this thing that we think we should naturally be. But the reality is there's so much in life that takes our attention and that can really suck our energy that you actually have to set the intention and make the effort to generate happiness. And that's not something I actually knew how to do. I don't think that I'm a naturally happy person. And again, that might sound strange to hear from somebody who runs a company called I Heart My Life, but that's how I view myself, at least how I used to view myself. So during that time, I actually decided to get some support. And so I actually went to see somebody who ran a company called the Happiness Center. It was a clinic where there were coaches there that would support you and provide you with coaching sessions. And it was one of my first experiences of the coaching world. And I remember it was a fortune to me at the time to buy these coaching sessions, but I knew that I needed some sort of support. So session after session, I think I bought a package of 6 sessions. I would go to the happiness clinic or center, and I would talk to this amazing coach. Her name was Alexis. I've actually, funny story, I've actually since looked her up on LinkedIn, and I should probably reach out to her to let her know how often I share this story and also where I'm at today. I think she'd definitely get a kick out of that. But she listened to me and she supported me and she was very patient with me until one session she decided to interrupt me as I was going through my whole loop about what wasn't working, why I was unhappy, so on and so forth. And she said, "Emily, did you know you have the power to control your thoughts?" And I looked at her and at that point, I had gone through 4 years of psychology classes in undergrad. I wanted at one point to be a counselor and marital family therapist. And there were, all these things I had learned about the mind. But for whatever reason, in that moment, what she said landed for me more than any other time that I'd heard it. I don't even know if I'd heard it put that way. And when she said that, something clicked for me. And I realized I don't have to allow this loop to keep playing over and over and over. One of my clients actually described it as like her lineup. She has all these thoughts in her head. It's kind of like a lineup on a baseball team. They're all sitting there on the bench. They're all coming out to play. The thoughts around not being good enough, things not happening as you want, I'm too confused, I'm too overwhelmed, all of that stuff comes up for all of us over and over and over. And we have the same thoughts on repeat on a consistent basis. And this is what was happening for me year after year, day after day, moment after moment. As I was sitting in these sessions, I was saying the same thing over and over again. And Alexis finally told me, you don't have to listen to your mind. You can control your thoughts. And that really opened up so many opportunities and doors for me to just educate myself further into the world of personal development and to really understand how the mind works. And so today I wanted to start with that story because what I'm going to share is an evolution of the way in which I think. And one of the key practices and questions that you can ask yourself on a regular basis when you go into that place of woe is me or overwhelm or doubt or confusion. And before we go there, before I share this tip and the one question that I ask myself, I want you to understand why this is so important. So first and foremost, we're all attracting things into our lives. Now, a lot of people have read the book, The Secret. That was something that actually changed my life. It covers the law of attraction. But I want you to really understand that it's more than just thinking about something and then creating it in your life. You actually have to take action. And there's the law of cause and effect that's at play there. And so when we think about something, when we have a goal or we have a desire or a mission, it's not enough just to think about it. We need to take some sort of action. Sometimes that's sending out an email. Sometimes it's booking a trip, like whatever the thing is that you're doing to create the effect that you want, right? So when we're in that place of despair or desperation, or we're just feeling really down, it's not only our thoughts that we want to consider in that moment, it's the action that we are or aren't taking. So let me give you an example. In those times where it feels like nothing's working or it feels like you can't do this, you might be more likely to make a decision that hurts everything that you're trying to accomplish. So maybe when you're having an off day, you end up firing someone on your team who's actually an incredible asset. Or maybe you throw in the towel on some sort of strategy that you've been working on for a while just because it feels like it's not working. There's a phrase that I love that I heard on another podcast that says, don't make decisions in the darkness. And for a lot of us, the decisions that we do make in the darkness cause more harm than good. And so it's not just, the energy that we're putting out into the world when we're in these moments where we're down. It's also the action that we are or aren't taking. And so that's what the law of attraction kind of fails to explain. So I wanted to share that here today. And this really pertains to the story that I want to share with you from a few weeks ago. So in the moment that I'm referring to, I was in that dark place. I was in a bit of despair. I didn't know why something I wanted to work wasn't working. And so I was all set to skip yoga class, go lay in bed, probably watch some TV, and just totally switch off and not think about anything, or do my best not to. And I remember sharing this with James. I was sharing my frustration and telling him things aren't working and going through that whole loop like I talked about at the beginning of this episode. I had the line up there. I had my go-tos. I normally go to blame. I go to overwhelm. Those are the things that get me to stop moving forward. Those are called stopping strategies. Those are my defaults. So when things aren't working, that's what comes up for me. We all have defaults. And so in that moment, he was listening to me complain, essentially. And of course, he's a gracious listener, but at the same time, he's also a coach. And he knows that our thoughts and our words create our reality because they impact our actions. And so he knew that he wanted to support me in shifting out of that negative mindset because he knew I didn't want to be in that place. He also knew that I wasn't going to get anything that I want from being in that place. We do a lot of work with energetics, and we know that whatever we put out into the world, we get back. And he didn't want me to be putting out those negative vibes because I was in the middle of doing something big and I needed all of my energy to continue to move forward and take that action. So again, law of cause and effect. And laying in bed was not actually going to serve me. In fact, I had planned to go to a yoga class that day, and that was the thing that I was going to blow off. So in that moment, he asked me a question that I'd love to share with you today because it's so, so powerful. And it's something that I feel like I've known about for a while. I may have asked myself it over the years. I definitely have shared this with my students, but for whatever reason, it hadn't landed for me until that very moment. And I know that a lot of you have had that experience. We often have clients who come to us and they've been working with coaches for years, and then something will say, or, something is said a little bit differently or tweaked, and all of a sudden it lands for them. Or even clients who have been with us for years, they often say, you know what, Emily, I know you've told me this a million times before, but for whatever reason, I really heard it today. And that's what happened for me in that moment. So James amazingly asked me how I would be showing up in that moment if everything was working out as I wanted it to. Simple. How would I be showing up in the moment if everything was working out as I wanted it to? And when I heard that, like I said, it landed for me. And I realized, okay, in this moment, if I could snap my fingers and everything was how I thought it should be, and we're going to go into that in a minute, then I would be happy. I would have more energy. I would go to this yoga class. I would go to bed knowing that everything is on its way to what I want it to be. Everything's happening for me. And so when I started to make that shift, literally it was instantaneous. I was like, okay, got it. I have control over my thoughts. I can decide to take different action. I can decide to have different energy around this. I can decide to trust that everything is actually happening for me, because that was the other piece that he shared with me. He said, all of this is happening as it's meant to. And if you truly believe that, how would you be showing up right now instead of being in a place where you feel like nothing's working? And when you make that simple shift and you ask yourself that question, how would I be showing up if I was in full trust? How would I be showing up if I was in full belief that everything is happening for me? How would I be showing up if I had $1 million in the bank right now? That's a really good one. Specifically, when we talk about money here, this is huge. So I want you to pay attention. Money is all about energetics. Money is energy, and it's an exchange of energy. So you have to ask yourself, what energy are you omitting right now? Are you putting out energy of desperation? Are you putting out energy where you don't actually believe it's possible for you to make a lot of money? If so, that's not going to be attractive to money. And so that's why when you listen to money experts like myself, people who specialize in money mindset, money beliefs, unblocking all of the stuff that's keeping you stuck and broke, they'll talk about your mindset. We talk about how you think about money. And so one of the quickest shifts that you can make in order to get yourself to go from lack into abundance is ask yourself, how would I be showing up right now if I had $1 million in the bank? Become the person who believes that you already have the money, and then you will have the money. And it's the same thing with any sort of scenario, like James was showing me. And I wanted to share that with you today because over the past few weeks, even, I've used that question so many times. How would I be showing up if I knew everything was happening for me? How would I be showing up if I knew that this thing was guaranteed to be successful? How would I be showing up if I had $10 million in the bank? What would be the decisions that I would be making? And the cool thing is that shifts us from a place of lack into abundance, from a place of maybe operating from a place of fear into operating from a place of desire. It shifts us from our lower level self into our best self. And we can make that transformation and that change in any given moment. And so I wanted to share that because everyone needs this question in their toolbox. Everyone needs to know that they have the ability to shift their mindset on a dime. And most people don't have that information. Most people believe that whatever they get in life, that's just what they're stuck with. And so they have to make the most of it. And most of the time we don't make the most of it. We go into blame, despair, all the stuff in that lineup that I talked about just a few minutes ago. So really ask yourself, how can you apply that one question to your daily life or to your business or career? What if you started to believe that there are no accidents? Everything is happening for you. Everything is happening on behalf of your greatest desire, right? It's so much more empowering to believe that that's the case versus us being a victim. And that's essentially what I was in that moment when I had that conversation with my husband. I was showing up as a victim. I was saying, I don't agree with my current circumstance. This is not working. It's not happening. I had very blamey energy. I was very much a victim. I was about to go lay in bed and call it a day. Instead, I was able to shift and say, okay, in this moment, if I'm in full trust around everything happening for me, if I believe this is the way that it's meant to be, everything's working out, if I have full trust in my ability, if I have full trust in my company, if I have full trust in the universe, if I have full trust in myself, how would I be showing up? If I flash forward and 2 weeks from now, I have $10 million in the bank and I spent all this time worrying about money, right? How am I going to feel about that time wasted? You could say $1,000 in the bank. You could say $100,000 in the bank. The number doesn't matter. Just really think about all the time over the past even week that you've spent worrying and how you could have easily shifted your mindset and your energy just by asking this one question. How would I be showing up if I believed everything was happening for me? Everything was working out. Everything was exactly as I wanted it to be. Because that's often what is happening behind the scenes. We just can't see it yet. Think about that song. I think it's Garth Brooks, Unanswered Prayers. How many unanswered prayers have actually been blessings in disguise in your life? How many challenges have actually been set-ups, right? Instead of setbacks? How many opportunities for growth have been presented to you? And at first they felt like challenges, they felt difficult, but it helped you grow. And I'm not saying that life is always perfect, but I am saying that this one question can help you shift. And then when you do shift, you become an energetic match for everything that you want. And that's the most important thing here. If you are somebody who is constantly negative and down in the dumps, well, guess what? Not only is your mindset going to be in the gutter, not only are you going to have the energy of somebody who's down in the dumps, a low level vibration, well, you're not going to take the action in order to get the results. Again, going back to law of cause and effect. It's not just the mindset piece, it's the action that you are or aren't taking. So my example, I would have not gone to the yoga class, not taken care of my body, not released stress. Right? If I was somebody who was down in the dumps, but instead I flipped the switch. I asked myself the question and I showed up as the next level version of me. And that's what's available for you as well. So my hope is that you take this question, you remind yourself of the question, you ask it in those moments that are challenging and difficult, and that you start to trust that everything is happening for you. Everything is unfolding as it is meant to. And you can choose to be the best version of yourself at any given moment. I remember somebody even said to me, I think it was actually in a book now that I'm remembering, what if you trained yourself never to be disappointed? How empowering would that be? How freeing would that be? That's what's available for all of us today. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the I Heart My Life show. Now do us a favor and tell people about this episode. It's truly our duty to make sure that the I Heart My Life movement is spread far and wide. The truth is, life can be challenging, but it is possible for all women to love themselves and their lives. And while you're at it, send a link to this episode to 3 of your friends today, or maybe even post it on social media. Use the hashtag #IHeartMyLifeShow. That's hashtag #IHeartMyLifeShow. And if you'd like to help me personally, then please rate and review this podcast on Apple Podcasts. Give us some stars, cheer us on, and leave a review, because believe it or not, that stuff actually really does help, and I read all of them. Please remember, everything you desire is meant for you and possible. Keep showing up, taking action, and believing in your dreams.